So let's see how she handles this one. And I don't know who Tysicle is. All right, so let's go ahead and see. Crosscut opening. I wish I had the guts to play the crosscut opening. I can't. I'm always terrified about doing this. She was AQ on OGS a few years ago. I think she only plays ranked on during March when Western server challenges played. Ah, okay. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, she definitely seems like she's probably around her early game seems like it's around 6Q or something. But then when we start getting into like the middle game, she seems like she kind of falls back up a little bit and falls into like maybe the 7Q to 8Q range. But yeah. Good opening. Solid, pretty solid so far. Same for white. White's opening is pretty good too. Though maybe I would want to play high as white. I'm not going to scrutinize this though. I sometimes low is just the way it goes. Sometimes low is just more comfortable. Let me actually hit review on this one too, so we don't see the AI.
Review started.
I don't like when the AI is telling me what to do. All right, let's see. Yeah, so here high is an option, low is an option. You can even enclose. And I mentioned this a couple days ago when doing the professional lecture. Even the 2 space is an option. Even the 2 space is an option. This is not that bad. It doesn't lose you that much more points than these two, so that is also an option. Hey, Andrew. Good approach. I like this approach. This is probably the same approach I would play that, or I would 3-3. I would either go here or I would 3-3. Either one. Would I want to pincer though? Would I want to pincer though? I would almost be tempted to kick. The only reason I wouldn't kick here is because I think this is too good for black. So I would pincer. The problem is with a pincer is that we get this issue. We picked the right direction as white to block this way, but a huge issue with this direction is that I always consider this to be too good for black. So if we're ever going to play in this direction, we almost always want to do this instead. But it looks kind of strange with the direction that we're working on, right? Like we've got this, so it makes sense for us to want to play here. So we're almost kind of like in a catch-22 situation, right? Like we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. So what else can we do as white? What else can we do as white? I am almost tempted to just play away. I am almost tempted to just play away. But I think that this is fine. I think this is fine. I think pincer is fine. And I think this is also probably fine. I would drop down at S3 though. This one's not that bad though. I like the 2 space high pincer. I am not a fan of this one or this one. But I think these are fine. I think these are fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with either of these moves. 04. Do you mean now, Valoa? I actually kind of do like this idea. Again, I think a problem though is that I guess the kind of my problem with this is that we're still making it too easy for black, right? Because here's the problem: is if we, I guess one thing that we could do is something like this or like this, and if black really comes back here, then it's still kind of like disputable. Because the problem is if we kick, black is too strong, right? Black is too strong if we kick. Black is also probably too strong if we do something like this. It's probably like here, but I like this one, okay? Okay, don't scrutinize me. I like this move. But it's probably too good for black like this as well. So maybe we just play here, or like this, and this way, if they attach here, we can do my favorite little thing here and do this. And now there's room here, right? Now there's room over here. And for those who don't know, I play this a lot. Whenever my opponent has a strong bottom side, and I want to just make sure that that bottom remains open, I do this. Now the bottom is accessible. The bottom is easier to access. And so what would happen is black can play something like this, or they can play like this. And it kind of just reverts into a little bit of another Joseki, but it's easier to come in towards the bot side. But yeah, I think 04 is an interesting option, though, for sure. But yeah, I would probably play this instead. I think this is fine also. But this is probably better. This way, we're also reducing the bottom, the right side. I think the only thing about this one is that we are leaving this open, but I feel like this is a very greedy way for white to play, especially so early. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Hey, Chris, what's up? All right, I like this move as well. I'm not a fan of this move. I think white can play the enclosure. White should probably actually do this. I think this is urgent. I would definitely play this, but if they don't really care too much for the right side, they can play this. But I think it is big that they play here, because um, if black gets back to this, like, we don't even have to play this as black. We can just play here. Like, this is already good enough, right? And if white tries to fix, then we lean, right? Then we lean. And if white tries to fix this side, then we can just instantly come in. We don't even have to just lean on white's right side, right? We can just instantly jump in. So I think it is almost imperative that white should come back and fix. But white plays over here. Black plays a good move. I think this is just an option. We can do this. We can do this immediately. I think this is fine also. Isn't the drop down at O2 better because of black? Because of black able to go under M3 if they need it for life. I think that, so O2 is like the old thing, right? Like, this is what people used to play, but I think both are fine. I think both of these are fine. Because either way, you're still going to be able to go under. Like, it doesn't prevent you from going under. But I do know that this is the old Joseki, right? Like, this is what used to be played. This is the new thing, but nobody ever defends this direction. So we don't really get to see this very often, or this, or this. I think there's even an argument to be made that this is fine also. But either way, I think all are fine options. I think all of them are fine options. And so I think black chose a good move here. I think this is good. I think black has played pretty well up to this point. A good move for white. I think white should not be simply defending this way. I know some players think that maybe we should be defending this way, but what are we defending? What are we defending here? This is absolutely nothing. This is bad. This is second line territory. There's no reason to defend that. So I think white chose correctly here. However, it almost looks out of place, because now if we try to do the same thing, like, look how amazing that feels. That feels great. But now we kind of got this. But I still think that this is better than simply defending. Maybe we should be adding with here. And I know some people might look at this and being like, isn't this a really bad shape? Yes, but no. This shape is kind of a reminiscence of hitting your head on two stones, but we have Sente. It's not like black had that stone already. It's not like black had a stone here, and then we hit our head on these two stones. So it should be okay to play here. And if black extends, then we're really fine. So if white Hanes, then we can go ahead and play Oh, hey. Thanks for the gifted sub, Najee. Thank you so much. And hey, Octopodes, you got a gifted sub. But yeah, so here it's actually probably fine to go ahead and play here because we can then go ahead and reverse. And now we've also got kind of a similar shape. We're hitting them on the 2 stones. But what's more important here, what is mainly more important, the big difference is that we're strong here and we're strong here as white. So this is definitely a positive for us. And you're awesome. But yeah, so it's definitely a more positive for white to play this way. But when we're just simply leading here, I do think that what white is going for is understandable, but I would almost want to have this move in tow. But I also still don't think that changes it, right? I feel like even if white had this move, I would probably still simply play here. So I feel like lean's just the wrong direction. And we can kind of see that we're not really getting anything from this unless we had this move. So it almost feels like we've played this completely out of place and we just went up here for this very random move. And again, it almost feels like we're kind of disconnected from the situation, right? Um, I think black punishes this wrong though. I think black can punish this a little bit more severe. We can clamp the stone. We can go ahead and play here. We can play kind of almost anything in this direction, right? Um, This is very soft because white's just going to make an easier base. White has an easier time to live here. And this is kind of what I was talking about with Buzzsaw, right? She played a really good opening up to, I would say, this is the first move that I would say is a problem, right? Like I think this is the first move that black has played that isn't good. And I think this is really good for a player that is between 6Q and 10Q. Um, once you get past Joseki, a lot of players tend to get lost. Um, but I think she played the opening pretty well for the exception of this turn so far. And for white, I think it's also fine up to maybe this move. I think white also played okay up to this move. Hey, Morpheus. Table shape. Good shape. Though maybe we can go a little bit harder here. I, I, I think table shape it's great, but maybe shape isn't what we're looking for in this situation. Maybe we want to put pressure on the white group. Uh, we don't have to worry too much about this group being attacked or surrounded. Like if white tries to surround it this way, we're obviously going to just be really strong. We've got now like a bamboo shape here. We're pretty much pretty strong here. And if white tries to play this way, then we can go ahead and play the table shape. And we can even play a little bit lighter here if we want, and we can just do the knight's move instead of this, because we know that this gives some cutting points. So maybe we want to play a little bit lighter with this knight's move. But I will accept the table shape. I think this is fine. Black says I want to be strong. I want to make sure that I have no issues, and I think this is acceptable. But again, maybe we play this. Maybe we play a knight's move. Maybe we even do this instead of a table shape. But either way, I feel like we need to be putting more pressure on these white stones. And this is for the middle game. This is to go into the middle game. And this is where I think that Buzzsaw starts to struggle in, is where we get to the middle game, right? I don't like this move for white. Um, I think that this gives black too easy to surround, so white should either jump out. Again, if white's going to play anywhere, they need to start thinking about their points a little bit better. So here's my problem with white. Here's my problem with white so far. This is not points. The only thing that are points right now is this area of the board. This is the only area where we can say that there's maybe it's more like this. This is kind of like the only thing that we could say is maybe points, and then maybe this if it lives, right? But these are not actually points. It's very hard to argue that these are points because there's so much room to invade. It's going to be better at the end of the day to simply play something like this. Black is playing more tucked closer, and let me go back to the beginning to kind of show you guys something. So this move here, like I said, this is not commonly played. Usually you'll see this or this, but I find that this is really cool. I really like this move because it's saying, hey, I'm definitely going to be safe here and I'm going to gain some points. This says, hey, there's room for black to do harm, right? Like I can play here as black and disrupt all those points. And if I play a splitting attack here, now white kind of has to play this side and can't do this thing because this is too good for black. So we have to basically play here or here. So now there's really room for black to do harm in here. As to where if we play this and white plays here and we get to play here, it's really difficult for black to play a stone in here. It's not easy to find a move that we can play. So we have to understand that playing tighter shapes is okay. And I can tell you that this is something that I had an issue with until I started playing on a real board. Because I remember playing and me being like, I'm not gaining a lot of points with this move. I'm not gaining anything. So I've got to play like these bigger jumps. But then it would cause my opponent to be able to invade really easily. And I didn't really understand why. Like I understood why, but I couldn't get over the fact that this was somehow worse than this. And so when we think about it, we're not playing a very tight shape here. We're playing very far away. We're giving black a lot of room to do harm, and we're likely to lose more like this than we are simply playing this. We're likely to gain more this way. So sometimes it's okay to play really tight shapes. And black played the invade instantly. I think this is a good move. However, I would still try to surround this. I think we should take our chance to surround this now. Even if white lives, like let's just say white lives here, blah, 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 and then boom, boom, boom. Even if white lives, let's even say it's in Gote, right? Like let's say it's in Gote. White has to spend a lot of moves just to make that okay. And black now has tons of Aji just for white living. The Sente would be the cherry on top. So we should be surrounding this right now. All right, we're going to speed up a little bit here. That way we are not spending too much time on just one game. This is fine. This is fine. I think white coming out is good. Black not getting back here, though, is bad. I think it's not good that we let white get back here first. Because here's the thing. Even if we play here and white plays here first, it's actually really common at a higher ranked level that black just gives up these 4 stones. It is really common at a higher level that these 4 stones mean absolutely nothing. These 4 stones get sacrificed very often in higher level games. So I wouldn't worry too much about these as black. They're pretty small. They're not that big. So this extend isn't needed. So we had a lot of chances to go back and kind of surround this white shape here. But let's continue. I think white should again play. I think in this case, this is where we probably go the opposite. I think white should play as aggressive as possible. Sure, I mentioned tighter shapes, but in this case, we're out of kind of the we're kind of outside of the extensions now. We're trying to look for the best way to press. Oh well. Hey, thanks for the 5 gifted subs, Amaranths. Thank you so much. Hey, Snake, you got a gifted sub. Hey, Snake, you've been lurking in chat. Where you hiding? Also, thanks to Amaranth for the sub for Incognito Spectators, Psyker 4, Phil Pips, and Dark Matter 87. All right, let's see. All right, yeah. So we want to play closer here in this specific case. Oh wait, that puts us. that puts us at 4 reviews this month. Yeah, so those who don't know, every 5 gifted subs, we're doing a raffle at the end of every month. So I'm giving away 1 free on stream review each month, but every 5 gifted subs, 1 gets added to that mix. And there's going to be a giant raffle at the end of the month for anyone that wants to be a part of that. And if you enter that raffle, you have a chance of getting an on-stream review. We're at 4 right now. So that means on the 30th of this month, I will hold a raffle on stream for people that want to be a part of that. And basically, the 4 people that have their usernames pulled will get a on-stream review in the month of October. Right now, we're at 4 on-stream reviews. So that'll be a lot of fun. All right, so let's see what happened here. Emirates, you literally threw me off. What's happening here? Okay, let's see. So white extended here. Again, we want to look for, even though we did talk about tighter shapes, maybe we're looking for something more aggressive here in this specific case. Black has an extension here. Again, even though I mentioned tighter shapes, I do think that this is fine for black, and there's a reason for this. We have a stone to attack. In fact, we have a whole group that we can attack. I would still almost be tempted to play here and aim for the split. However, maybe another issue that we're looking at on the board. What's another issue that we're looking at on this board? What is something that we're forgetting about almost? There's an entire group that we're almost forgetting about. And white has slowly been doing it this entire time. White has slowly surrounded this black group. I think that this is fine. Yeah, well, but the bigger issue is we're getting surrounded here. We're starting to really kind of lose sight about this group, right? Because if we play here, imagine if white still continues to pretend that there's nothing wrong here, right? Eventually, we're going to get surrounded, and it's going to be really hard to make life with that group. And even if we can, like, say we do it in like the most crude way possible, right? Like, let's say we do this in the most crude way possible, right? And black can make life from that. We've got a knight here, we got a knight here, and we got a knight here. Well, now we really are building up that center, right? Like, we're starting to actually get something going here. Still not enough. I think a huge issue is we're going to not have enough points here. But at the very least, we've pressed this down to 2 points. The problem is there's still too many invasion rooms. So I would almost want to kill this as white, and I think it would be possible from this point. I would be pretty confident in killing this. But yeah, so we're starting to get surrounded. So maybe for the sake of safety, maybe we want to play here. Maybe we want to add a knight's move here, because we're still not connected up as white. So I think at this point, it is okay to force white to connect up for extra strength, right? Like, if we get white to connect up here, then hey, maybe we now have time to go back here. So maybe we want to focus on, again, urgent before big. Because I do think that this is a good big move. I think this is a good big move. I think this connection is good for white. And that's why I think that we should have played here. Because it makes sense that if we play here, white's going to want to play here. White is going to want to play here. Like, this is just big. So maybe we take that big point instead. And we disrupt white's base, and it makes it harder for white to attack this group here, right? All right, let's go ahead and speed up a little bit here. I don't like these type of moves. I don't like these type of moves. I don't like these type of moves. Is it okay here, though? I feel like it's not. I feel like it's not. If I'm going to have to play on a move over here, I'm going to attach. I'm not going to play this way. I'm going to attach. But generally, you would want to come out here. But in this specific case, it is really big to actually block down here. But maybe we want to do the attachment instead so we can go ahead and play crosscut. Because if we do something like this, we're just going to get into a situation like this where we're just getting pressed down and giving our opponent great shape. And I don't like that. It also feels So here's my other reason I don't like it. I think one of the most important things that you can take into a game is fighting spirit. And I tell this to my Don students. If we're ever in a situation where the opponent does this kind of thing and the opponent plays here, like an attachment here, I tell them all the time, make sure you're Hane on top. Don't Hane on bottom. It's very rare that you want to Hane on bottom. Obviously, everything in Go is situational. There are going to be times where you want to Hane on the bottom. So don't like take this as never Hane on the bottom. But most of the time, the strongest move is going to be to Hane on the top. There might be some split in situations where you might get cross-cut, though, and it's good to think about those. In which case, maybe the Hane on the bottom is open. Maybe the bump is open, right? Because then we could connect like this, or surround like that. But most of the time, fighting spirit is incredibly important. And Hane on top is almost always fighting spirits. That wasn't Najee. That was Amaranth. Amaranth gave you the gifted sub. Octopose got the Najee gifted sub. So let's go ahead and go back here. I like what White's trying. I do like it, but this is not good. We gotta connect up here. Black will very likely block the bottom anyway, and then we can do this. I feel like everything's gonna come down to this. Yeah, Black needed to come back here sooner. Like this, Black really needed to come out here now. I think that Black needed to do something here. And in fact, I think that White did this really well. It almost feels like the whole game is just coming down to surrounding this, as to where if Black just lives with this group over here, like at any moment, like say we just do it now, we're gonna be ahead. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna win. So Black should really be coming back to this group, and I feel like everything's gonna come down to that. I wouldn't be playing this way as White because now we're kind of making Black stronger towards this group, right? Oh, Black played this shape. Yep, smart. No, White connected. White should Atari here, and White should be playing this way specifically for this ko. Specifically for this ko, because if we play here, now we've got an eye. So now we play this way, and then we go here, and then we do this, and this is our ko. This is our ko. Very important shape to remember when you want to remove an eye on the bottom of the board. Or on the side of the board. Sides, bottom, top, whatever. Basically when it's against the wall. Yeah, Black just lives here, and I think the game is over at that point. I think it's really hard for White to come back. Wait, what happened? What? How do we not live here? Black presses in. What are we doing? Black should play here instead. We can invade here instead. But wow. White should just cut here immediately. White should just cut here immediately. It's kind of shocking to me that this ended up dying. Well, good job on White, because I assume that's game over. Could we have done this different? Could we have done this different as White? I don't think so. I don't think so. All right, so my advice to Black this game, because I thought Black played so well. I thought Black played so well. I think Black played well up to a point. I think Black played really well up until she started getting attacked. I think she needed to spend more time realizing that her group was not strong and going back and fixing that. And I think whites, they need to really work on their opening. They need to work on their opening. And I know that opening doesn't mean a lot, but it's important to realize that if you have a good opening, let me put it this way. It is really bad if you fall behind by a lot of points out of the opening and have to constantly play a game where you're constantly trying to come back. It is not a great feeling. It is a very irritating feeling. It's not a good feeling to constantly feel like you have to play a game from behind. It gets very old and it doesn't feel good. I understand that opening is very boring, but it's good to get to the point with an opening where you're not constantly falling behind or playing from behind or relying on your opponent playing a bad opening too. Um, but we don't want to sacrifice the rest of our game either. At the same time, we definitely don't want to sacrifice the rest of our game. Um, like in this case, I would say that black has a really good opening, but there should be no way that we allow this to just simply get surrounded the way that we did. Hey, Katie. And I feel like white lost a lot of points in the opening, but I feel like black kind of just allowed white to surround this and take hold of the game. So, yeah.